Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Minnesota.
Mother Nature forced an early end of the Twins-Brewers game last night, which resulted in a Twins 7-4 win in 6 innings. Today, it's Game 2 as Minnesota meets Milwaukee at Target Field to close out their short border battle set right here. This Brewers-Twins series on Fox Sports North is brought to you by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Two veteran starters on the mound today, both seeking their first win of the season. Urban Santana sporting a new look. Gone are his lengthy locks. The Brewers will counter with Willie Peralta. We welcome you to Twins baseball on Fox Sports North. Joe Mauer is back in the swing of things, back to the form that we saw for so many seasons, hitting .362, fourth best average right now in the American League. What's allowed him to get back in form?
I think three things. There's no question that he's healthier this year than he's been in 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years. And when you're not healthy, it will affect your mechanics. He's healthy again. His hitting mechanics are so much better. He's had leg injuries, shoulder injuries, neck injuries, even vision problems. And what it resulted in is that his head was not staying still and his hands were moving forward with his head. Now you see his head so still. That's the old Joe Mauer approach where his head just stays right where it is. And when you get the results and you feel like your old self, the confidence comes back. And when you get a hitter of his caliber that's feeling good, his mechanics are good, and the confidence is back, then you're going to see the Joe Mauer of old. Right from the opening bell, he looked different this year than I've seen him in 3 or 4 years.
Marty Gellner, the Twins will rely on Joe Mauer even more now that Trevor Plouffe is headed to the DL.
Yes, and Plouffe had become one of the hottest hitters for Minnesota, especially in that 3-game sweep over the Angels. But Plouffe was officially placed on the 15-day DL today. It's our Sanford Health injury report. Paul Molitor said he'd love to give Plouffe a couple of more days, but the Twins just don't have that luxury heading to National League ballparks this week. They've called up Jorge Polanco from AAA, who Molitor said is best suited long-term, probably for second base or the outfield, but that he can handle the left side of the infield in short bursts. Twins bats have really come around lately. Dick and Bert are up next with another heart bomb, a Byung-ho bomb. It's a significant one, too, after this.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. 2 weeks into his major league career, Korean import Byung-ho Park has had quite an impact on the Twins lineup. His third home run of the season last night as the Twins this afternoon hope to complete a 2-game sweep over the Milwaukee Brewers. Dick and Bert with you for this matinee here at Target Field. When the Twins signed Park in the offseason, they were quite impressed with his power. After all, he'd hit 105 home runs in Korea in less than 1,000 at-bats, and so far I think he's given us a reason why with power to all fields.
You know, we didn't see the 210 home runs he hit in Korea, but if they went something like he has shown the Twins, my goodness, in Kansas City, the home run measured at 433 feet went into the water there in Kansas City. Now against the Angels, Joe Smith straight away, 462 feet. They measured it. Don't believe that. That went further than 451. And then in last night's ball game, taking a pitch the other way to right field, measured at 402. That's what I was going to say. So this young man right here has got a lot of power.
With Park flexing his muscle, Oswaldo Arcia hitting, Joe Mauer hitting. The Twins are scoring more than 5 runs a game, and today they'll hope to complete a short sweep over the Brewers. For everybody after a rain delay of more than 2 hours that ended up finishing last night's game after 6 innings. Craig Counsell a year ago was working in the Brewer front office, not yet holding the reins of the Brewers as their manager. And we're about ready to get game 2 of this series started, and then the two teams will play another 2-gamer in Milwaukee starting tomorrow night. Strike one to the leadoff man for Milwaukee, Colin Walsh, hitless in 10 at-bats on the season.
Yeah, Walsh, a Rule 5 pickup by the Brewers from the Oakland A organization, facing Irvin Santana. Clean shaven, I guess he cut his hair off. Santana looks like a new kid, my goodness.
1-2.
We saw Santana, you know, with the Angels and
right.
the Royals and the Braves with those dreadlocks, but now clean shaven.
Fouled back to the screen. Still 1-2. The Menards batting order for the Brewers. Walsh will be followed by Scooter Gennett, Ryan Braun, Jonathan Lucroy, Chris Carter, Kirk Neuenhuis, Jonathan Villar, Flores, and Maldonado. And a fair ball into the corner, and Walsh has his first hit.
Yeah, first major league hit, a young man that's played Double-A last year in Midland, Texas. He hit .302 for the Oakland A organization, but he got a pitch to his liking and lined it right into that corner in right field. Ball stayed about thigh high, and Walsh turning on it, and his first major league hit is a double.
Brewers got a first inning run last night. And now a man in scoring position right out of the chute here this afternoon. Scooter Gennett, the batter.
Yeah, Gennett a couple times against Phil Hughes jumped on that first pitch.
And Santana misses the outside corner.
Gennett in his 4th season with the Brewers.
High fly right field and hit well. Sano back at the wall, and that ball hits the wall. Walsh held at second, and they will hold him now at third. Back-to-back doubles to start the ball game for the Brewers.
Yeah, looked like a changeup right there, and the ball just kept drifting on Sano. Something that he also has to learn is to play that wall. And he kind of nonchalantly went after this ball. I think he had a shot at catching it. That's what he thought. He goes back right here and then realizes he cannot. And you see a carom right back toward the infield. So back-to-back doubles, but put runners at second and third.
About 10, 11 feet up on the wall. So a pair of doubles, still not a run across. And Ryan Braun will hit with nobody out. Saw Brian Dozier go out into right field for a possible retrieve. There's a swing and a foul, and that got John Ryan Murphy. Second basemen here at Target Field are taught to do that, not so much because of the wood fence that double hit, but because of the limestone fence in right field, which creates a longer carom. So for the time being, Sano's intent to catch the ball has kept the Brewers from scoring. Now inside, and it's 1-1.
Yeah, Irvin Santana making his 4th start of the year, his 3rd career start against the Brewers, and the other 2 did not go very well for him. One with the Angels, one when he was with the Braves. He's pitched a total of 12 innings against the Brewers. In his 2 starts, he gave up 12 earned runs.
Check swing. 2-1. Weather issues last night, and Santana already a victim of that. He was the Twins' opening day starter in Baltimore, and the rains came after 2 innings. So he was moved up in the rotation to start against the Royals, and also has made a start against the White Sox. So this is already his 4th start of the year. 2-2. He could use a strikeout. Tim Timmons behind the plate. Sean Barber, Jordan Baker, and Mike Everett on the bases. And last night, the game was shortened to 6 innings. The Twins ended up winning 7-4.
To continue their winning streak now at 4 straight games.
Braun, the batter, with a 2-2 count. Infield, of course, playing back this early in the game. There's a chopper left side, and that'll bleed through for a base hit. So the inning starts with 3 straight Brewer hits and an early 1-0 Milwaukee lead.
Yeah, Braun picking up his 10th RBI of the year as that seeing eye single got through the infield as Walsh scores. Fastball down, you get the ground ball, but it's hit to the left of Nunez, to the right of Escobar in the left field.
Cleanup batter Jonathan Lucroy, the designated hitter, will hit. Lucroy caught for the Brewers last night. Twins will play back in the infield. They'll concede another run if they can get a ground ball hit at somebody. And there's a called strike to Lucroy.
The last time Santana faced Milwaukee, you have to go back to 2014. He lost 6-1 in that ball game. Lucroy, 3 hits and 5 at-bats against Santana. Need a ground ball right here. 1 double play turn behind Santana so far this year.
Inside, 1-1. Twins won the ball game and got through the game, as it turned out, using just 1 pitcher. Phil Hughes went 6 innings. A complete game win, although if you want to put an asterisk by that, we'll let you. Now a rough start here for Ervin Santana. Twins started the year with a 9-game losing streak, largely because they didn't hit much. And through the first 2 weeks or so of the season, a much improved pitching staff. Team ERA is 3.49, 5th in the American League. Inside, 2-1. Santana a big part of that with an ERA of 3.
Yeah, his last start coming here against the Chicago White Sox. Ended up losing that ball game 3-1. He worked 7 innings, gave up the 3 runs.
2-1 to a dangerous Jonathan Lucroy. 5, 4, 3, and where in the world was Scooter Gennett? Well, they get 1 out at second base, but the runner at first is safe. But generally, runners are taught, aren't they, to come in from third base and try to stay out of the double play.
Right. Nunez, he kind of picked up the runner, but threw to Dozier, and then Dozier, as Gennett didn't know which way to go, ended up getting the force out at second. See, Gennett right there, some reason did not go.
I don't know whether Dozier thought that he was going to go. So just 1 out. And runners at first and third again with Chris Carter at the plate. He's watching Gennett and just anticipated that he would head home, and I think that's what Dozier thought too, in not throwing to first. One and 0 to Carter. High fly, center field. Gennett will retreat to tag. Buxton with a catch, and the throw coming through, and save. A strong 1-hop throw from Byron Buxton nearly got Gennett at the plate. It's 2-0 Milwaukee.
Yeah, that ball a little bit on the left-handed batter's box. I'll tell you what, that made it a lot closer than I think I thought it was going to be. But Buxton on this high fly ball gets behind it. You see him backpedaling a little bit, comes charging in, and then a 1-hop throw to Murphy. And boy, very, very close.
Yep.
Gennett just sneaking that left hand over the plate.
3 hits so far, a couple of runs for the Brewers. And that'll bring up Neuenhuis.
Yeah, Chris Carter picking up an RBI, his 9th of the year on the sacrifice fly.
And Murphy can't block it cleanly, and going to second is Lucroy. The Brewers with men on base and moving them forward for a couple of runs, and now another man is in scoring position with 2 out.
Yeah, wild pitch would be charged to Santana, his first of the year.
Neuenhuis with 5 runs batted in on the season, and a bouncer to first. Park has it. He'll go to the bag. And a long first inning for Ervin Santana comes to a close. The Brewers have an early 2-0 lead. right field this year, having never played in the outfield before. And Butch Davis, the outfield instructor, teaching him about something.
Well, hard to judge that ball right there, even though it was, it didn't hit the limestone. And it's something that he had to react to and say, okay, well, I've got a chance to catch it. If I don't, then you have to backpedal as quick as possible.
See it all the time in left field at Fenway Park. And I think if you were out there, wouldn't you want your outfielder to, try to make every catch they can up against the wall?
Yeah, go back, and like Sano did, go back. But then once you see that, hey, I can't catch this, you've got to bust your tail end to get back and hopefully play the carom.
2-0 Milwaukee, and it'll be Eduardo Nunez off to a really good start once he got on the field and got some at bats. Hits, 22 at bats, and he takes outside ball one. The Menards batting order for the Twins. As Nunez in at the leadoff spot again. Brian Dozier slides down to second. Then Mauer, Sano, and Arcia. Park, Escobar, Murphy, and Buxton. Pitches up 2-0.
Willie Peralta on the mound. He's making his fourth start as Santana is, and the first three have not gone his way. He has struggled. He was the ace a couple years ago for the Brewers when he won 17 ball games. But so far in the 3 starts, 13 1/3 innings, he's given up 20 hits and 15 earned runs.
To the left field corner, and Nunez just keeps on hitting. It'll be an extra base hit, and the helmet stays on.
Well, he must have got a new helmet. Or they put Velcro on his head.
A chin strap? So the Twins start the bottom of the inning with a leadoff double.
Well, that ball came running right back into the swing of Nunez, and he lines it into the corner. His second double of the year. Yeah, both these starters have struggled against each other's organization.
Here is Brian Dozier hitting a few ticks below 200, although he got 2 hits last night. And the Brewers right away pull shifting another right-handed batter. They did this to Dozier and others last night. 3 infielders on the left side of the infield. Carter playing almost equidistant between first and second. That's to the left field corner. And foul. Dozier hitting it hard but hooking it foul. 1-1. Northland Ford defense for the Brewers. Ryan Braun's been kept busy already here in the bottom of the first. Neuenhuis in center. Flores in right. Walsh, Villar, Jeanette, Carter, the infielders. And Martin Maldonado behind the plate. Dozier scored a run last night in the ball game. Just his 3rd run scored this year. Swing and a miss.
Good slider there. Peralta basically a sinker slider type pitcher. Left a couple balls up so far. One in Nunez and then the one that Brian Dozier line foul.
1-2. Liner to left, a base hit. Nunez to third. He'll be held there. So these two sleep-deprived lineups swinging the bats here in the first inning. Time now for our Toyota key stat today. And Joe Mauer bringing a 9-game hitting streak into today's game.
Yeah, good to extend it hopefully today here on his 33rd birthday. So happy birthday, Joe Mauer.
First and third, nobody out. And Joe looking much more like the 3-time batting champion than he has the last couple of years. Strike called over the inside corner.
Peralta has faced the Twins 2 other times. Joe Mauer 1 for 4 against him. He's also drawn a couple walks. This Peralta at 6'1", about 255 pounds.
One strike to Mauer. Missing inside. Mauer's average the last 2 years, 277, 265 last year, bringing his major league career mark down to 313, which is still 3rd among active players. Only Cabrera and Ichiro Suzuki, Miguel Cabrera, swing and miss, 1-2, have a higher career mark among active players. 3 years ago he hit 324, and the on-base percentage, because the batting average has suffered over the last couple of years, the on-base percentage has as well. Last year's disappointing season brought his career on-base mark to just below the 400 mark. 1-2, tying run at first and nobody out. The big thing this year, Mauer last year for the first time struck out more than 100 times, 112 times, and 592 at bats.
Yeah, but right now only 4 strikeouts and 47 at bats. And he's walked 8 times.
Once intentionally. Two and two. And off the plate with Sano on deck.
And I gave you numbers on Peralta in his first 3 starts, a total of 13 1/3 innings, 20 hits allowed. He's already given up 2 here, but 8 walks, so a lot of base runners against Peralta. He's also given up 4 home runs.
See if the Twins send Dozier here. Mauer much more of a contact hitter than he was last year, at least so far. Dozier goes, and the pitch is ball 4. So they're loaded up now for Miguel Sano.
You know, Twins were down 2-0 last night, and then they came back and ended up scoring 7 runs in 6 innings. Twins got a chance to get back into this ball game right here.
And the comeback last night was started with Miguel Sano's first home run.
Yeah, line drive home run into the bullpen of the Twins. Home run, a line drive at 409 feet.
The Twins, through their 9-game losing streak, scored a total of 15 runs. They've scored 21 runs now in their 4-game winning streak. And a chance to do some damage with the dangerous Sano up. Bases loaded, nobody out. And he takes ball 1.
And missing with the slider. And Peralta working out of the windup.
Half swing, but a strike.
And a sinker down and in. A lot of times pitchers will work from the stretch with bases loaded and nobody out. You may go to the windup with 2 outs, but with nobody on, Dozier should get a pretty good lead.
And that is a force play at third and a double play with Sano clipped at first base. On the play, Nunez scores. It's a 2-1 ball game.
Yeah, nice play by Walsh right there. The ball hit in front of him. He charged it nicely, tagged third base, and then the throw to Chris Carter across the diamond for the double play. So Nunez does score, make it a 2-1 ball game. No RBI for Sano as he hits into the double play.
And that one will sit with Sano for a while till his next at bat. Big at bat, and he bounces into a double play. Here is Arcia. Wicked liner off the screen by the Milwaukee dugout. 1 strike. Won't happen this year, maybe as soon as next year, but there's a pretty good chance that Oswaldo Arcia and his younger brother Orlando Arcia will be facing off against one another in this border battle here between the Brewers and the Twins. Orlando Arcia, very highly thought of shortstop in the Milwaukee system. 2 strikes. Arcia has shown so far this year a much better 2-strike approach.
He's got a nice streak going, 7 hits in his last 13 at bats, but swings at a nasty slider down and in.
Twins get a couple of hits, a walk, but only get 1 run out of that.
Inning at Target Field. Many of today's broadcasts around Major League Baseball will be centered around Cuba, baseball's final frontier. And while Major League Baseball's global reach seems to be greater than ever, Cuba remains, for now, one country that is outside its reach. Watch our special documentary, Cuba, Baseball's Final Frontier, airing Monday, April 25th, following our Twins Live postgame show here on Fox Sports North. Dick and Bert.
Thank you very much. That'll be a very interesting show early in Twins history, late in the Senators' time in Washington, D.C. before they became the Minnesota Twins. A Cuban connection very strong in this organization. 1 strike to VR.
And of course, the #1 Cuban is born in Cuba, Tony Oliva. What an ambassador he has been for the Twins.
VR, Flores, and Maldonado to bat for Milwaukee in their 2nd inning. Chop to the right side. Dozier has it, and Santana gets the flip just ahead of a sliding Jonathan VR.
Well, nice play by Dozier. Good for Santana to get over there, and you like your first baseman to go after that ball if he can. Park coming up a little short. So the responsibility of the pitcher is to get over there. See Santana taking off right away. Little flip, and Santana beats the sliding VR.
And no challenge from the Brewers. VR retired, 1 down, and here's Ramon Flores. Just 3 hits and 23 at bats. Strike 1. Santana had a difficult time in the 1st inning, facing 6 men, now facing the bottom 3rd of the Brewer lineup.
Yeah, Flores get an opportunity to play here is with the Yankees last year. Mainly in their system, minor league system, 7 seasons in the Yankee minor league system. And also the Seattle Mariners, a .275 hitter. Only other major league experience with the Yankees last year. He hit .219 in 12 games.
Missing inside, 1-2. Santana, quick worker. dirt. 2-2. Twins got off to the horrible start, 9 straight losses to begin the season. Yet if they win here today, they'll have the same record as they had last year after 14 games. And they went on last year to win 83 games and finish just a few games out of a playoff spot. Dozier in short right field for out number 2. Well, here's what we were talking about before. Pedro Ramos, Senator, made the transition to Minnesota. Camilo Pascual, a great curveball artist.
Yes, he was.
1965 American League MVP Zoilo Versalles. Tony Oliva in his Rookie of the Year season won a batting title, won it again the next year, and finished second in the MVP voting both years to Brooks Robinson in '64 and to his teammate Versalles in '65.
Well, I had the opportunity to play with Tony O. He could hit.
Maldonado 0 for 7 in this young season. And now 1-1. Swing and a foul tip. 1-2.
And not a very good swing by Maldonado. He's in his 6th season with the Brewers, originally signed by the Angels out of Puerto Rico. Last year, 79 ball games, hit only .210.
And Murphy with a block. 2-2. First 3 men reached, 2 of them scored, and now Santana's retired 5 in a row. Missed inside. It's a full count with Walsh on deck. And time called. And a walk to the number 9 batter.
First walk for Santana.
That'll bring up Walsh, who hooked a double down the right field line to start the ball game. Later on scored. Brewers started the game double single to take a 2-0 lead. Santana misfires again.
Now, Walsh, a switch hitter, 26 years old, signed out of Stanford University by the Cardinals back in 2010. Again, a Rule 5 draft from the Oakland A's for the Brewers.
Outside 2-0.
You know, we saw it from Phil Hughes last night. It took him a while to get going. He had one point where he retired 8 straight Brewers, but even last night Hughes had a tough time finding that strike zone.
Strike called.
He walked 2 guys in 1 inning. That's the first time since, I believe, 2014 that he did that.
Look at the strike to ball ratio. Not nearly what we typically see from Santana. And ball 3. Jeanette on deck.
Sure, Walsh taking a pitch here. It's a leadoff hitter. His job is to get on, and he does.
Full count now. And that'll mean Maldonado will take off from first.
Fastball away.
Off the plate.
Ah, that's a strike. Look, it just nicked it. There you go.
Now, neither team was happy with the strike zone last night. Now the Brewers a little unhappy with Tim Timmons' strike zone this afternoon. Young Ho Park will lead things off for the Twins in the bottom of the inning. CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. Irvin Santana struggling through a couple of innings with his command. Yet he's only down by a run, and Young Ho Park will lead things off in the bottom of the second. We've seen prodigious power from Park. First to left, then to center, then to right, leading the team with 3 home runs. And chopped foul, 2 strikes.
Well, last night's ball game on a 3-1 pitch from Chase Anderson. Outer half of the plate. He just took it over the limestone in right field.
Ground ball and through the shift. The Brewers with the pull shift with 3 infielders on the pull side of the infield, but Park hit it hard enough to split 2 infielders. Tying run aboard, nobody out here in the second.
Yeah, 3rd hit for the Twins for 6 batters that Peralta has faced. Breaking ball left up. Well, Maldonado wanted that ball down and away. Instead, it's a base hit into left center.
Now Eduardo Escobar. Twins didn't hit at all in the first week and a half of the season, and yet they came into this game with a team batting average of 240, 2 points off the league batting average of 242. Now a pull shift for the left-hand hitting Escobar.
Yeah, 14 hits in last night's ball game helped a lot.
In 6 innings, yes, that helps, and already 3 early hits and just 5 at bats this afternoon.
Every starter in last night's ball game for the Twins got at least 1 hit. Escobar 1 for 3, scored a run.
(2-0). Up high, and as much as Santana is struggling, Peralta's struggling even more. He's got a lead of 2-1, but he was very fortunate, maybe even lucky, to get Sano to hit into a first inning double play grounder.
He pitched 5 days ago against the Cardinals in St. Louis. He gave up 5 runs in 5 innings.
And that pitch is up, and Park will go to second base.
Second walk for Peralta.
The Twins flex plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. You can choose in advance or even the day of the game. Don't plan, flex plan. Go to twinsbaseball.com/flex or call 800-33-TWINS to learn more.
John Ryan Murphy took a long look at Gene Glenn, the third base coach. Maybe a bunting situation. Murphy just 1 hit in 18 at-bats.
Byron Buxton hitting behind him. Corner infielders are up. Murphy's had a case of the pop-ups in his first weeks with his new team, and he takes a strike. Twins gave Kurt Suzuki a couple of days off, and that may have had something to do with Suzuki having a good day at the plate last night.
Sure did.
And Murphy had last night off, and he'll probably get one of the starts in Milwaukee either tomorrow night or Thursday afternoon. And it's 0-2 quickly to the Twins catcher. 18 at bats, just the 1 hit, but also only 1 strikeout. Now, pop up or a short fly ball isn't much better than a strikeout, but he has put the ball in play.
Now, Murphy 3 seasons with the Yankees, a .267 hitter in 115 games over those 3 years.
Laced to center field. Park to third. He'll be held. The throw from Neuenhuis to the cutoff man.
Escobar's down at second base.
Escobar
That is slipped on the bag. He's calling time.
And Escobar unable to get up.
Looks like the right ankle, maybe.
This is a Twins team that had perhaps its healthiest spring training in its existence. No serious injuries.
Now watch right here. He sees a ball go through as he rounds second. I believe he slipped on the bag right there. Ball hit so hard that Park had to stop at third.
Twins had a very healthy spring training, and then Danny Santana, their utility player, went on the disabled list. Glenn Perkins went on the disabled list. Trevor Plouffe put on after the game last night. And now the starting shortstop has a leg injury of some sort.
Jorge Polanco just getting called up when Trevor Plouffe was put on a disabled list. Getting loose if need be.
Escobar looks like he's going to be okay. So the bases are reloaded as they were in the first inning. Twins had the bases full. Sano at the plate, and he bounced into a double play. Now they're loaded. Nobody out for Buxton.
Yeah, you know, Peralta's leaving some pitches up. Not a bad pitch right there to Murphy, but credit him. He lined it right back up the middle. Good at bat for John Ryan Murphy.
Buxton with an RBI triple into the left field corner in last night's game. I thought Roy Smalley on Twitter brought up a really interesting point last night. How many right-handed batters will hit a ball into the left field corner and get what could have been a stand-up triple? And that's what Buxton did last night. 1-0. Chopper to third. Force play at home. And Buxton can't get the tying run in. Twins are playing Pepper with Colin Walsh in these bases loaded situations.
Yeah, Maldonado catching the ball is on the infield side. Buxton hitting that nice little hopper to Walsh. And he comes home with it. Maldonado has to reach for it, but he does keep his foot on home plate for the force out.
Even if it had been a better throw, I don't think that with Buxton's speed they would have had a chance for a 5-2-3 double play. They're reloaded again with 1 out and Nunez at the plate. Well, the Twins have gotten the minimum out of the maximum here in the first 2 innings. Foul back, 1 strike. Nunez cracked a double into the left field corner. He's now 13 for 23 on the season.
Slider away. It looked like Nunez wanted to shoot that ball toward right field. Again, the shift put on where the second baseman is basically on the shortstop side of second base.
Grounded to short. There's nobody at second base because of the shift. And so the Twins will get the tying run in, and is Nunez limping as he crosses the bag at first. Well, that time the shift cost the Brewers perhaps an inning-ending double play, because the second baseman Jeanette went for the ground ball, leaving no one near the second base bag at all.
Yeah, Nunez picking up the RBI, his third of the year.
Nunez getting the tying run in, and of more concern is looks to be okay, but it almost looked like he came up a little lame crossing the bag. Tie game, second and third, 2 down, and here's Dozier taking outside. Well, the Twins, as I said, have gotten the minimum out of the maximum so far, but a 2-out hit here by Dozier could change all that. Singled his last time up. 2-0. Peralta has just looked very unsettled out there. Terrible command in and out of the strike zone. See what Dozier gets to hit here on 2-0. Nice pick by Maldonado to keep it a 2-2 game.
Yeah, again, Peralta 2 years ago, a 17-game winner, very good, 3.53 ERA and 32 starts. Maldonado getting it on that short hop. Maybe saving a wild pitch, maybe saving a run. Last year, Peralta 20 starts. He spent about 2 months on a disabled list with a right oblique strain. 5 wins, 10 losses, and an ERA at almost 5.
Mauer on deck, 3-0 to Dozier. Takes a strike. Inside, a walk fills the bases. This is the 4th plate appearance the Twins have had in the first 2 innings with the bases loaded.
Yeah, 3rd walk of the ball game for Peralta.
Mauer drew a walk in the first inning. Peralta's faced 11 men. He's retired 4 of them. Strike on the outside corner.
Not very good total, 40 pitches, 23 strikes.
Strike 2, same pitch, same spot, same call.
Yeah, sinking fastball down and away.
Peralta's been walking the tightrope through the first 2 innings. So far, it's just a 2-2 game. Ahead of Mauer, 0-2. How good Mauer's eye has been. He didn't think that first pitch was a strike. He didn't think the second pitch was a strike, but that didn't mean he was going to expand his strike zone, because he still thinks he was right on the first 2 pitches. 1-2. One hopper right at Jeanette, and that ends the inning. Twins get another run to tie it up in the second. Sports North is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Final game of the Twins' opening 8-game homestand. And yeah, they've gone streaking this year. They've been involved in a sweep in every series they played. They were swept in their first 3 games, including the first series here at Target Field against the White Sox. Then they swept the Angels, and now they're in possession with a win here today to sweep this mini series with the Brewers. Ball 1 to Scooter Gennett, who doubled and scored in the first. Fouled back 1-1.
Yeah, Gennett picked up a couple doubles in last night's ball game. Scrappy little player, 25 years old, signed by the Brewers in 2009 out of Sarasota High School, Sarasota, Florida.
Around the hands.
I don't know where the name Scooter came from. Legal name Ryan Joseph.
Well, you can't be Ryan if you're going to hit in front of Ryan Braun, right? You got to come up with a different first name. 2-1.
AJ.
There's the outside corner, 2-2.
Or RJ. But he's known as Scooter.
You're known as Bert. Your first name is Rick.
Right. And yours is Richard, I believe, is it not?
Yes. Yes, it is. Moving on. It's a full count to the leadoff man on the third. Gennett, Braun, and Lucroy. "21 years I've sat next to you." Slap toward the left side, picked up by Nunez, and a strong throw to Park. Twins fans, if you can't watch the games on TV, you can now stream games live on your mobile device. Go to your app store and download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in and stream the Twins wherever you go. One down in the third, and now Ryan Braun. Braun singled to left in the first inning. Brewers actually, in terms of wins and losses, have gotten off to a better start than some thought. With 5 wins, 8 losses after a rain-shortened loss last night. It's a long road trip for Craig Counsell's team. The first road trip, a 3-city 8-gamer, wrapping up here today. 1 strike to Braun. Popped up. It'll reach the seats. Problem the Brewers have, similar problem to the Twins, at least after their slow start. Somebody in their division is supposed to be really, really good this year. In the Twins case, it's the reigning world champion Royals. And in the case of the Cubs in the National League Central, the Cubs off to a 10-3 start. First team in baseball with 10 wins. So you're off to a 5-8 start. Not great, obviously, but okay. But you're already at the bottom of your division, 5 games back.
Well, we mentioned it last night, Dick, a lot of new faces too in the organization. On their 40-man roster, they have 19 new faces.
1-2 to Braun. Just have not seen Santana elicit any swings and misses. And Braun gets his second hit. It's the first hit for Milwaukee since Braun's single in the first.
Yeah, fastball that stayed pretty much right down the heart of the plate, and Braun took advantage of it and lined it in the left. 4th hit off of Santana.
Lucroy, the batter. Lucroy hit a ground ball to Nunez, and I thought it was going to be a 5-4-3 double play. Scooter Gennett didn't leave third base, and the Twin second baseman Brian Dozier aborted the double play attempt and didn't even throw to first, thinking Jeanette was going to head home. Remindful of one of the more famous double plays in Twins history that you were involved in.
Yes, 1987 against Kansas City.
Final home game of the year. Gaetti to Al Newman, who threw home to get a speedy Willie Wilson. The problem today was Jeanette never left third base. 1-0 to Lucroy.
Couple throw-overs to Braun. Braun's attempted 1 stolen base. He was caught, but over his career, 165 stolen bases, been caught 46 times. I mentioned last night, he's one of these guys you don't pay attention to him. He'll take that walking lead.
1-1. Now low, 2-1. Brewers making the decision about a year ago to restock their farm system, rebuild, if you will. And yet Lucroy, pretty valuable commodity if the Brewers decide to move him. Good defensive catcher and can put together some pretty good offensive numbers.
Made the all-star team for the Brewers. That ball getting away from Park, and Braun had no place to go as the ball caromed back.
I wonder if the throw didn't hit Braun. Kind of took a funny carom. It certainly hit something and bounced almost at a more right angle, which meant it didn't run up the warning track and away from Park.
Let's take a look. A quick throw right here. Maybe hit off the helmet of Braun.
Two and 1 to Lucroy. .54 pitches for Irvin Santana, and it's about a toss of the coin in terms of how many of them are going to be strikes. Three and 1.
Murphy sitting away.
Popped up down the right field line. And Sano watches it drift back into the seats. 3-2.
Well, as a former starter myself, you're going to have games you just are battling, try to find that right spot. And I think we saw Hughes battle last night. He battled through 6 innings. Santana trying to find that groove. You're going to have days like this that you really struggle finding that strike zone and good quality strikes. Left a lot of pitches up.
There goes Braun, and it's ball 4. Another walk. Second issued by Santana. First and second, 1 down. You can join us Saturday, April 30th. The Twins taking on the Tigers, and the first 10,000 fans get a Twins fur bomber hat presented by Red Baron Pizza. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets. Get your ticket for a Twins bomber hat and your ticket to summer. Chris Carter hit a sacrifice fly, driving in Jeanette from third back in the first. And dug out of the dirt by Murphy. Well, if there's been a swing and a miss, I can't remember it. Santana has a strikeout of Walsh. That was on a called third strike pitch that Walsh thought was outside. And Carter, of course, very strikeout prone. There's a breaking ball and a strike 1-1.
Yeah, Santana, like Hughes, very, very good control. But trying to find that release point, that consistent release point. Don't want to make a mistake to this guy.
Popped up fouling out of play. Murphy that time set up inside. It looked like Santana hit the spot and got a foul ball for strike 2.
Murphy taking the ball out to Santana. Go over this sequence of pitches to Carter. See Murphy sitting inside. And Carter fouling off that low fastball.
Carter this year 40 at bats, 15 strikeouts. 2 ground ball double plays.
Yeah, Carter, back when he was with the Astros in 2013, he struck out 212 times in 506 plate appearances. That led the American League in striking out.
Fouled straight back.
But when he makes contact, that ball can jump off his bat. He's a big man, 6'4", about 245. They have him listed at.
Back-to-back pitches where Murphy has gone out to talk to his pitcher.
That's not Irvin Santana. Too many pitches, 60. You can see 20 each inning so far.
Still only 1 out here in the 3rd inning.
It's a ground ball.
There's a breaking ball, gets strike 3, 2 down.
And strikeout number 2 for Santana comes at the right time.
And that'll bring up Neuenhuis.
Good slider here, down and away, out of the reach of Carter.
Neuenhuis bounced out. 16 at bats for Neuenhuis, and he has struck out 7 times. Talked about it last night. The Brewers are trying to adopt a more patient approach at the plate, taking more pitches. And they hit the ball pretty well last night, and our first 3 batters got hits. But when you look at what they've done so far offensively, came into the game with a team batting average of .215. There's a strike on the outside corner, 1-1.
Yeah, good breaking ball right there and a fastball count.
Came into the game with 400 at bats and 120 strikeouts. One and one. Big stop by Murphy, and it's 2-1. Popped up left side. Nunez by the Brewer dugout makes the play, and another inning where Irvin Santana struggles, but he strands 2, and Miguel Sano will lead off the bottom of the 3rd for the Twins. Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by T-Mobile. Get major league coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. With Marty Gellner and Bert Blyleven, Dick Bramer here at Target Field. Some light rain showers this morning. The tarp was on the field. They took it off, and looks like skies are trying to clear here in the afternoon hours in Minneapolis. It'll be the middle of the Twins lineup. Sano, Arcia, and Park facing Willie Peralta, who has survived through 2 very ragged innings.
Yeah, both starters really struggling.
Sano in the first inning came up with the bases loaded, nobody out. The first of 4 plate appearances that Peralta has had with the bases loaded through 2 innings, and yet the Twins have just 2 runs. The runs have scored on Sano's double play grounder in the first and Nunez's ground ball in the second. 2-0 to the powerful Sano. Over the inside corner. Three and 1. Strikeouts a part of Sano's game, but so too are drawing walks. He has 8 walks on the season, and he pulls that one foul over by the tarp. 3-2.
That fastball came running in on him. He pulled it foul. Peralta making his 4th start of the year, his 93rd major league start. 35 wins in his career, 40 losses.
Busted his bat, and it's still a 380-foot fly to center. 1 down. And that'll bring up Arcia. Our Soup.com trivia question: since 1988, he was the only Brewer pitcher to win 18 games in a season. Kind of a trick question, or at least the bookend for the question. 1988, Teddy Higuera, I believe, had a really good year for the Brewers about that time, and I think it was 1988. Here's Arcia. Strike call. One and 1.
Peralta has only 1 strikeout. That was Arcia to end the first inning. Good slider down and in. Struck him out on.
A worse swing that Arcia's offered in the last week or so. Inside. Arcia got the game-winning hit here a couple days ago against the Angels, and afterwards gave the Twins an awful lot of encouragement based on what he said about his at-bat. 2-1. Chop right side. And Carter goes to the bag. Arcia talked about the approach he had after Byron Buxton stole second base and how his approach changed.
Yeah, he came into this day here, 7 hits in his last 13 at-bats over his last 3 games, and using the whole field.
Which is kind of what he said his approach was. Once Buxton got to second base, he was simply trying to put the ball in play rather than trying to drive it someplace, which in its own way might show some maturation that he's gone through. Awareness. Here's Park. Singled his first time up.
Sometimes it takes hitters. You know, there aren't too many Rod Carews or Tony Olivas out there that win batting titles early on. Sometimes it takes time for these young kids to get, 500, 1,000 at bats till they realize that, what they need to do to be consistent.
1-1 to Park. 2-1. We've talked so much about Park's power, but we maybe haven't emphasized enough the fact that he was an all-around good hitter in Korea. Not just home runs. He wants to contribute with singles and doubles. Hit .343 last year in Korea, .303 the year before that, .318 the year before that.
Yeah, 9 seasons in Korea, 210 home runs, a 281 hitter in Korea. But the last 3 seasons, as you mentioned, over 300.
3-1 now to Park. A high fly to short left. And coming in is Braun. Still coming in, and he makes a running catch. And Peralta has a 1-2-3 third inning. Most of his Hall of Fame playing career, of course, in a Milwaukee uniform. A few years in Toronto, finished his career in Minnesota, won a World Series with the Blue Jays, got his 3,000th hit wearing a Twins uniform, but he'll always be remembered, I think, as a Brewer, as it should be.
From 1978 to 1992, he wore a Brewers uniform. 3,319 career hits. And what impressed me, over 500 stolen bases, 504 stolen bases, caught only 131 times.
Fly ball left field, and Arcia will have a chance here, tracking this one toward the corner. One down. What a 1-2 punch with 2 Hall of Famers playing side by side for most of their respective careers, Robin Yount and Paul Molitor. And Jim Gantner joined them for what, 16 years together, something like that?
Cecil Cooper was there. He was nasty. Good hitter. And Ben Ogilvie, don't forget about Ben. He owned me.
Strike one over the inside corner to Ramon Flores. Going to pop up to Dozier his first time up.
And Bill Schroeder. We can't forget Bill Schroeder either.
No. He wouldn't let us.
No.
Broadcasting in the booth next to us. 2 strikes to Flores. 3 hits, 24 at bats. Santana could use the type of inning. There's
Rock. Let me circle him. There you go, Rock. You were hereby circled. And that had to be a big circle.
1 and 2. Now he caught you when you both were in Anaheim, right?
Anaheim, yes.
Ooh, right past Maldonado. Santana could use the type of 4th inning that Peralta had in the 3rd, a quick 1-2-3 inning. Didn't struggle so much in the 2nd inning, but he did issue a 2-out walk to the number 9 batter. 1 and 2. Snap bat, that awful nauseating sound.
What a great pitch.
2 down.
Yeah, better inning so far for Santana.
The craftsmanship that went into making that bat, and it's all gone in a split second.
Well, they'll make it.
Martin Maldonado drew the 2-out walk in the second. Fouled away, 1 strike. Twins leave for Milwaukee after the game, as do the Brewers, of course. 2 games in Milwaukee for Minnesota, and then 3 in Washington, D.C. against the Nationals. We're off to a great start, 9-3 on the year. Hit high to right field. Sano. A 9-pitch, 1-2-3, 4th inning for Irvin Santana. Dogs playing with cats is what that is right there. Brewer fans sitting next to Twins fans.
Yep.
It's not the fiercest rivalry in the world. You probably wouldn't see Cardinal fans sitting right next to Cub fans, would you?
No, they're smiling right now at each other only because it's a 2-2 ball game.
Okay.
Just wait till the Twins take a lead.
Escobar will lead off the 4th against Peralta. First pitch fouled away. Escobar, Murphy, and Buxton to face Peralta here in the 4th.
Yeah, good to see Escobar okay after slipping on the bag at second base in the second inning.
Inside, 1-1.
That'll make sure that your ankle's okay. Had to get out of the way, a little dance.
Escobar walked, slipped on second base, eventually scored the tying run in the second. On the Nunez ground ball. Popped up left field. Braun comes in a few steps. 1 down. Since they moved here from Washington, D.C., the Twins have had a theme song. And the first 2 lyrics in the theme song, "We're going to win, Twins, we're going to score," suggesting that you got to do the latter to do the former. And that's kind of how it's played out this year. They didn't score many runs and they lost 9 straight.
Yep.
They score a few runs and they won 4 straight.
The starting staff did a good job in that first 9-game series. And, you know, you always like run support, and the Twins have supplied that over the last 4 games that they've won. Murphy singled sharply to center. He takes ball 1.
Murphy, one of the few batters that the Brewers have not put a shift on. And now 1-1. Much needed hit for Murphy. Now just 2 for 19 on the season. Twins are hoping that they will have the type of success with a former Yankee backup catcher that the Pirates had with Francisco Cervelli. Once he got a chance to play every day, he emerged as one of the better catchers in the National League. The Twins are hoping that that's what happens with John Ryan Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy only 24 years old. Again, the last 3 seasons with the Yankees, kind of up and down, but last year with them the whole season, hit .277 in 67 games.
2-1 to Murphy, squaring to bunt, and he lays it down. It hit him out of the box, and he's out. Murphy ran out of the box and collided with his own bunt, so 2 unassisted for the second out of the 4th inning.
They're trying to lay down a bunt right here, and you can see makes contact right there as that right foot came out of the box.
Tried to drop it in front of a Colin Walsh at third base. And that'll bring up Buxton. The Twins looking at it to see whether they might challenge this.
Yeah, looks like Paul Molitor's going to come out of the dugout and
talk with home plate umpire Tim Timmons. He didn't say that he wanted to challenge. He may be asking Timmons to ask a base ump for some help. But no challenge, and we'll play on with 2 down. Oh, now you look up and Peralta set down 6 men in a row. Buxton came up with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 2nd inning, and bounced out, and he takes low, ball 1.
take another look at the bunt. Murphy making contact right there and then hitting the, it looked like his left leg.
I think his left leg came up.
Yep. He's out of the box. So.
2-0. Buxton came into the game with an on-base percentage of .200. 2-1. He's yet to draw a walk and has 14 strikeouts. And now 3-1. A base stealing threat should he get to first base. Nunez on deck. Foul. Full count to Buxton. The Twins, through the 9-game losing streak, were striking out at an historic rate. They've really cut back on the strikeouts. In the 4-game winning streak, just 22 strikeouts in 34 innings. And Buxton lifts it foul out of play. With 9 stolen bases on the year and 13 tries. Hoping that Buxton can get aboard here with 2 down in the 4th. And Peralta strikes him out. 7 in a row sent down by Peralta, and we still have a 2-2 game.
In the Minnesota Lottery winner's circle, we have $100 worth of scratch-off lottery tickets for Laurel, who lives in Seattle, Washington, but spent a good part of her time in living in St. Cloud, and here to wish Joe Mauer a happy birthday. And I understand your sign is going to get some usage this week.
It is. We're on a baseball road trip, and we're headed to Milwaukee and Washington. And after Joe's birthday, I'm going to take the sign apart and wear the jerseys.
Because those are jerseys tucked in. They're Mauer and Morneau.
That's right. Could be Malone, but it's Morneau.
Could be Tommy Malone. It's Morneau. So you're going to wear those, and we'll see you in Washington and maybe see you in Milwaukee and Washington.
That's right. I'm looking forward to seeing the pitchers bat.
Oh, yes, they will be doing that. Dick and Bert, a happy birthday to Joe Mauer from Laurel today.
Yeah, happy birthday, Joe.
I see you right down there behind the Twins dugout. And you are here by circle. My telly's on the blink, but you are here by circle.
2 strikes to the leadoff man here in the 5th. Colin Walsh popped up, and Nunez tracks it near the tarp. 1 down. Now that's a dedicated fan to make a baseball road trip. You live in Seattle, you're in Minnesota, and instead of heading back west, you go further east. Milwaukee, D.C.
Yep.
1 down here in the 5th inning, and that'll bring up Scooter
But
Jeanette.
you know, we've met a lot of people over the years that, you know, have a family vacation and they take certain trips, you know, to just to follow baseball, see all the different ballparks in the United States and Canada.
And that's one of the shames. This is a nice rivalry the Twins have had over the years between themselves and the Milwaukee Brewers, and they say it's unavoidable that the rivalry series necessarily must be played during the week, 2-2 like the Twins have with the Brewers here. And typically this has been a thriving rivalry when there have been weekends where fans from Milwaukee and Wisconsin can come here, and fans from the Twin Cities and Minnesota can go to Miller Park. 1 strike, and now a ball.
Remember, one year we did our open out when the Twin fans were tailgating out at Miller Park.
Right. Jeanette with a double, a run scored, and a ground ball to Nunez. Hit to right. Sano doesn't make the play. Fanned on it, and Jeanette will go to second base. And Sano will be charged with a 2-base error.
That maybe took his eye off that line drive and then tried to play it off to the side. Jeanette opening up quickly, hitting the line drive, and Sano just missed it. Sano will be credited with his first error of the year in right field.
And you can see Santana's reaction. It was a well hit ball, but it was hit almost right at the right fielder. And now Ryan Braun.
You know what, as a pitcher, you know, now you try to pick up your teammate right here. Try to get out of this inning with no damage. Braun already has 2 hits. He drove in the first run in the first inning.
Then a 3rd inning single with 1 out. Breaking ball down and away. Hits are even at 4 apiece. The first error of the game going to Miguel Sano in right. Bases open, of course, but another dangerous hitter in Lucroy hitting behind Braun.
Braun's always been a good hitter. He came up with the Brewers in 2007, came into this year's 10th season with the Brewers, a career .304 hitter. A lot of pop in that bat, 258 career home runs, and Santana pitching to him very carefully.
Hasn't come close to throwing him a strike yet. 5 years in a row he drove in over 100 runs. So if there's anybody in this Brewer lineup you do not want to make an error in front of, it is Ryan Braun. And Santana walks him on 4 pitches and is blocked by Murphy. Double play in order. Lucroy coming to the plate. The Budweiser Roof Deck is the ultimate Minnesota Twins outdoor experience. The roof deck is available for your group of 250 guests on both Independence and Labor Day weekends. Clients and staff will love the views, amenities, and large fire. I'm sure they're up there today enjoying the fire. Everything you need for mixing game time with social time. Go to twinsbaseball.com/groups. Learn more about how your group can experience the Budweiser Roof Deck.
I know, Dick, you've been up there. I've been up there. Great view. Great view of the ballpark and downtown area.
And Lucroy takes strike 1. Lucroy hit what I thought was going to be a double play grounder, but Twins didn't turn it. Get a ground ball to third. Then Lucroy drew a walk in the third. Santana trying to pitch around the Sano error and follow up walk to Braun.
And needs a ground ball like he got in the first inning.
Just off the outside corner, 1-1.
But going fastball away and just missing down and away.
A few years ago, Lucroy drove in a career high 82 runs with 18 home runs. Breaking ball gets a swing and a miss.
Good slider right there. Had a little bite on that slider.
That's the only swing and miss pitch that we've seen. He threw it to Carter and struck him out with it back in the third inning.
Straight over the top, down and away. Good tight rotation.
One and two with the Brewer DH. Drilled past Nunez and into the corner. It's an RBI hit, and Arcia hits the ball back in, and the Brewers take a 3-2 lead.
Well, we just talked about that nasty slider that he threw. He came back with another slider and left it middle in. And Lucroy opened up quickly and lined it down that third baseline. Ball left down and in. And Lucroy pulling that ball. His third double of the year, driving in his third run.
Santana tasked with some major damage control here. Chris Carter at the plate, 1 run already in and 2 men in scoring position. Carter's hit a sacrifice fly and struck out swinging. That's to left center. And Arcia will make the catch. And tagging from third and scoring is Braun, and the Twins, or the Brewers rather, have their second 2-run inning. And again, a run scoring on a Carter fly ball.
Yep, second time Chris Carter has hit a fly ball and picked up another RBI, now 10 on the year. So the error by Sano ends up biting Santana and the Twins.
Brewers got an unearned run off the Twins last night, and now here is Kirk Nieuwenhuis. On the outside corner. Santana approaching the 100 pitch level. Murphy gets part of it, but not enough of it to keep Lucroy from advancing to third.
Good base running by Lucroy, noticing that ball got behind Murphy. A lot of runners will kind of hesitate, but this ball down in the dirt, you can see it kind of ricochet off Murphy, gets behind him, and Lucroy alertly gets to third. So second wild pitch of the ball game for Santana.
Fernando Abad just activated off the bereavement list, warming up in the Twins bullpen. Swing and a miss on a changeup, it looked like.
Good changeup there.
And it's 1-2. Blocked by Murphy, and it's 2-2. 2 runs on the board are, according to my scoring, unearned runs. I had the Brewers getting a couple of unearned runs against Phil Hughes last night, but officially just 1. Two and 2 to Nieuwenhuis. And here comes Lucroy home, and the run will score. Again, Lucroy alertly scampering home on a ball that got away from John Ryan Murphy, and it's a 3-run inning. Another wild pitch.
Credit Lucroy for really running the bases well. This will be a pass ball, they rule.
Oh, okay.
Gets away from Murphy, backhand flip. And Lucroy sliding in head first. So a 3-run inning for the Brewers, giving them a 5-2 lead.
Busted bat to Park, and that'll end the inning. A very untidy inning for the Twins. An error in right field. Wild pitches, pass balls. A lot of misplays in the field in a 3-run Brewer 5th.
This goes seamlessly. You know, there's going to be mistakes and people are going to question it, and we're going to try to be patient. I think so far I've been encouraged that he's putting the work in. He's showing fairly good instincts. I think he's, as large of a man he is, he's still athletic. So we'll see how it plays out.
A big error by Sano, allowing eventually 3 Brewer runs to score. Pitch outside to Eduardo Nunez in the 5th. And Santana being consoled by Neil Allen. Into the shift. Juggled by Jeanette. And a stretch at first by Carter. One away.
Boy, Nunez hit that right on the button. And Jeanette took a little vicious hop and knocked it down. Jeanette, you can see where he's playing. He's a second baseman. Getting Nunez out at first.
8 in a row set down by Peralta.
I was going to say he settled down nicely.
Here is Dozier. Twins had 4 plate appearances in the first 2 innings with the bases loaded and did not get 1 run producing hit. 2 runs scored out of all that on groundouts. Into the shift again. Right at Jeanette. 2 down. And before Mauer comes to the plate on his 33rd birthday. Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And Joe Mauer back off to a real good start. Won the league MVP in 2009, and in that year his year didn't get started until May.
Right, missed all of April.
Mauer drew a walk his first time up, and then was the last Twin to hit with the bases loaded with 2 outs. He bounced out to Jeanette. Strike 1. Sliced foul. 0-2.
Well, Peralta's pitch count at 78. He has 9 ground ball outs, 3 fly ball outs, a couple strikeouts. He's walked 3.
And another foul off the bat of Mauer. Santana might be done. Part of the conversation with Neil Allen, I suspect.
Yeah, 95 pitches for Santana in the 5 innings.
Outside, and it's 1-2. Ground ball, same spot in the field. This time it's the shortstop Villar. 3 ground ball outs, and a revitalized Willie Peralta has another 1-2-3 inning. Pepsi fans of the game hoping that the Twins can come back and make this a 2-game sweep over Milwaukee after winning a rain-shortened game last night. Went just 6 innings. Irvin Santana struggled throughout his 5 innings, and now he yields to Fernando Abad.
Yeah, Abad just being activated off the bereavement list, where he went to Dominican Republic to attend his grandmother's passing funeral, making his 6th appearance. He last worked here on Thursday against the White Sox, 2/3 of an inning, picked up a couple strikeouts. So Abad off to a good start out of that bullpen.
Twins sent out Taylor Rogers, sent him back to Rochester, and kept Ryan O'Rourke. So the Twins have 2 lefties. For a while they were, well, through this entire 4-game winning streak, they were very thin from the left side in terms of experience. For a while it was just Rogers, then O'Rourke showed up, but he just, pitched well, but a handful of innings last year. Glenn Perkins is on the disabled list, and Abad, as you said, was back in the Dominican Republic.
Well, anything for Taylor Rogers, he got the experience being a big leaguer. So now he goes back to Rochester saying, hey, I like that experience. I want to come back and pitch 2/3 of an inning.
Villar 0 for 2, then Flores and Maldonado. Base hit greeting Abad. Villar gets his first hit. A leadoff single here in the 6th.
Slider down and in, and Villar lining it into left field.
We'll bring up Ramon Flores. 3 hits now in 25 at bats for Flores. Park to Escobar. Double play, very nicely started by Byung-Ho Park and turned by Eduardo Escobar.
Yeah, ball hit sharply to Park. He quickly threw a P and a strike to Nunez, the shortstop, who was covering second base, and then gets back to the bag to take the relay throw for the double play. Very nicely, 3-6-3.
And now Maldonado. Part of the Miguel Sano to right field puzzle too, because he was signed as a primary designated hitter, but he can only play one position, and that's first base. Well, the Twins have one. His name is Joe Mauer, and when Mauer's not playing first base, he's going to DH. So those 2 players flip-flop. And Sano, who had been a third baseman, is in right field because the Twins made a commitment, at least for this year, to Trevor Plouffe, who one might argue has been their rock through this difficult start to the season, both in terms of publicly being the front man and dealing with the media, showing some clubhouse leadership, and then right before going on the disabled list, he was their best hitter.
That last pitch, a great changeup by Abad at Maldonado's. Could have swung 3 times and not hit that baby.
2 strikes to Maldonado. Down and away.
Abad, 30 years old. He came to spring training, signing a minor league contract with the Twins over the winter. Made the club out of spring training. Has major league experience with the Astros, Nationals, and the Oakland A's. Oakland A's the last 2 years.
Missing outside again, 2-2. So no, it is a first home run of the season last night, and someone up here said that after he hit the first one, the next one would come within the next 5 at bats. That 5th at bat is going to come up leading off the bottom of the 6th. And so you'll not want to miss that. It'll be his 2nd home run of the year, coming leading off the bottom of the 6th inning.
I like your call.
After Fernando Abad pitches a 1-2-3 top of the inning. The Brewers in front. Our carsoup.com trivia question.
I believe he's out in the bullpen for the Brewers, a left-hander. Chris Capuano.
18 wins in 05. Now a reliever for the Brewers, one of their 2 left-handed relievers. Miguel Sano will lead off the 6th. And he takes strike 1. And the deal was, I just said before Sano hit his first home run, that whenever he hit the first one, the second one would come within the next 5 at bats. And this is that 5th at bat, unless it's a walk, of course. 1-1. And a frustrating game on many levels for Sano. Came up with the bases loaded, nobody out in the first, and wrapped into a double play. 1-2, and then committed the costly error that gave the Brewers 3 runs.
I'll just take a base runner or a base hit. They got to get Peralta out of this little stretch that he's in. He's retired 10 straight Twin batters.
Just missed that corner down and in, and it's 2-2. Twins have hit 9 home runs. They've all come with the bases empty.
And all 9 have been off right-handed pitchers.
Just off the corner. Breaking ball that nearly clipped it.
It's a hard slider at 86 miles an hour.
Full count to Sano. Came inside and got a chopper foul. Twins need a pick-me-up. Trying to get one from Miguel Sano here in the 6th. And Maldonado couldn't hang on to the check swing foul tip. Arcia and Park will follow. A lot of power facing Peralta here in the 6th. That's to right center field and down for a hit. Softly in front of the center fielder Nieuwenhuis for a leadoff single.
So that does end the streak of 10 straight Twins retired.
Leadoff man is on. Let's find Marnie Gellner.
Oswaldo Arcia now at the plate, guys. Here's an encore presentation of 3 things to know about Arcia. Eduardo Escobar told me that Arcia overreacts to everything, that he'll jump 3 feet out of the way of an inside pitch, and he wants to break his bat over a called third strike. And Eduardo Nunez said Arcia loves to be the center of attention, and that when everybody is looking at him, that's exactly what he wants. And according to Miguel Sano, the hair just isn't working. Arcia has grown out his hair on the top a little bit this season, and as Sano said, he needs to make an adjustment. Es no bueno. Dick and Bert, 3 pretty vital things to know about Oswaldo Arcia.
Yeah, thank you, Marnie. I got a tweet last night from somebody that said that they have their hair just like Arcia, that it's kind of a new fad.
Okay. How old was the person
He was 61 years old.
Okay. 2-0 to Arcia. 3-0, and Peralta into the stretch, and that's where he struggled so mightily in the first couple innings.
Yeah, 3 walks, only a couple strikeouts for Peralta.
Down by 3 runs. See what Arcia does here on 3-0. 3-1.
Oh, this is the hair right here that the 61-year-old. I know what, Dick, I believe you're 60, so there's still a chance.
Trying to imagine how that would look multicolored.
Yeah.
With the mix that both you and I might. 3-1 to Arcia. And a walk will get Park to the plate, representing the tying run.
Yeah, 4th walk for Peralta. Again, Peralta came into the ball game over his first 3 starts. He was the opening day starter for the Brewers. 13 1/3 innings, 15 earned runs. Greg Counsell has seen enough. He's going to come out and make a pitching change.
5 innings plus for Peralta, and hardly his. Well, I guess given the way the season's gone, it has been his best outing so far this year. And in that respect, Twins hope they've got the right guy at the plate. They need a pick-me-up here after giving the Brewers 3 unearned runs. And they've got Park coming up with Peralta out of the ball game and 2 men on and nobody out.
Yeah, Michael Blazak coming out of the bullpen, making his 7th relief appearance. He's got a win out of that bullpen in 5 1/3 innings. Has given up 1 home run, 3 walks, 1 intentional, with 4 strikeouts. Blazak in his 3rd season with the Brewers.
Park with a single and a fly ball to left. He has taken over the team lead in home runs with a long home run to left in Kansas City, a longer home run to center field here at Target Field, and then last night he went deep to right field. Up and away, ball 1. First and second, nobody out. Breaking ball gets a swing and a miss.
That first 2 pitchers look like sliders from Blazak.
Went too far, and it's 1-2. 3 breaking balls. Nine hits for Park, 5 of them extra base hits. Foul tip. Maldonado digs it or picks it before it gets into the dirt. And Park strikes out, 1 away. Another breaking ball.
Blazak comes in and picks up a big strikeout like a little cutter. See Maldonado able to get that ball. Maybe Park nicked it. It stayed in the glove.
And now Escobar. 4 times in the first 12 plate appearances, the Twins had a batter in the box with the bases loaded. And now a first and second nobody out opportunity in the 6th. Blazek gets a big strikeout, facing now Escobar. On the outside corner, another breaking ball. Escobar with a dozen hits, 4 extra base hits, all of them doubles. And now 2 strikes to Escobar, and that got a piece of Maldonado. Blazek's come out of the pen, and he's done what you want a reliever to do, right? Throw strikes.
Yeah, he did a good job last year out of their bullpen. 45 relief appearances, a 2.43 earned run average. Last year gave up only 40 hits in 55 2/3 innings. Came from the Cardinal organization, traded over to the Brewers a couple years ago.
Oh, 2 to Escobar. Blocked by Maldonado. Twins is 2 for 8 with runners in scoring position, but again, not a run-producing hit in the ball game, reminiscent of their poor clutch hitting through the 9-game losing streak. 1-2. High fly center field. Neuenhuis back. Sano will try to advance to third. He may have left early. The Brewers, I'll bet you, will appeal an early tag at second base. And that'll bring up John Ryan Murphy. Great Counsell trying to get somebody's attention. Sano left early.
I thought he went back and got the bag right there, and the catch is made.
Oh yeah, no,
Yep.
it's a legal tag.
I knew you were seeing things.
First and third, 2 down.
Good things though.
And the Twins need a 2-out hit now from Murphy. Peralta left the game with 2 men on, nobody out. Blazek's gotten 2 outs. Murphy, who has only 2 hits as a Twin, can get his biggest hit as a Twin right here. The cost to the Twins, center fielder Aaron Hicks. Kind of utility outfielder for the Yankees. Principally a center fielder with the Twins. One and 0. 1-1. In the first inning, the first 3 men reach base. Second inning, first 3 men reach base. And here in the 6th, the first 2 men have reached. Ryan Presley might be the next pitcher out of the Twins bullpen.
Yeah, Blazek has thrown 10 pitches now. I think he's thrown 1 fastball. Everything's been cutter, curveball.
And now 1-2 to Murphy.
There's a fastball. He fouled off. With 2 strikes on Murphy in his first at bat in the 2nd inning, lined a base hit up the middle. mentioned Dick earlier, only 1 strikeout in 20 at-bats.
Takes there, and it's 2-2. Two and two to the Twins catcher. Hold to third. Walsh has it. And Carter with a stretch, and the Twins again start an inning, but can't finish it off. Casino story of the game, the Brewers up by 3.
Yeah, for the second day in a row, the Brewers scored 2 in the first inning. Ryan Braun's RBI single, then a sacrifice fly by Carter made a 2-0 lead, but Twins came back. Sano hits into the double play. A run does score, make it a 2-1 ball game after 1 inning. Twins add another run in the second inning, make it a 2-2 ball game. Nunez's RBI. But the Brewers open it up a little bit with a 3 unearned runs in the 5th inning. A wild pitch, a pass ball, the error by Sano.
It's an out of the 7th. And Abad is still in there. Walsh, a switch hitter. Takes strike 1.
Yeah, Walsh picking up his first major league hit in open up the ball game with a double.
1-1. Leadoff double in the first. Since then, he was called out on strikes and fouled out to Nunez. Then Jeanette and Braun will face the Twins later this inning. 2-1.
Abad, 30 years old, originally signed by the Astros in 2002. Been playing baseball a long time. This is his 14th season of pro ball.
And that 68-mile-per-hour off-speed pitch hits the corner. 2-2. Full count. And he took a little off the 68-mile-per-hour pitch and threw that one 67.
Yeah, Abad picking up his second strikeout.
1 down, and that'll bring up Jeanette.
Good pitch, good location. Walsh way out front.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. One away in the 7th, and now Jeanette.
High is 90 mile an hour with that fastball, low with that changeup at 64.
On the outside corner, Jeanette with a double in the first. A double that did not score Walsh. Hit a ball off the fence in right field out of Sano's reach. And Walsh had to hold up. And then it was Jeanette who hit another one to right field. Sharply, but right at Sano, and he did not make the catch for a 2-base error.
Good hard slider there by Abad. Probably the last hitter that Abad will face. Michael Tonkin warming up in the bullpen.
Two strikes. And waiting on it, Jeanette lines it foul over the tarp. Michael Tonkin warmed up. Might come in, as Bert said, after the Jeanette at bat. And another foul fly. Two games in Milwaukee tomorrow night, Thursday afternoon, and then this border battle between rivals is over with. And Jeanette checks his swing. It's 1-2.
Yeah, good take right there. Hard breaking ball down and away, but Jeanette did not even attempt to go after it. Of course, we don't see a lot of the Brewers. I like this little guy right here. Battle.
2-2.
Jeanette just 25 years old, 4th season with the Brewers. First 3 major league seasons, career .287 hitter. I don't know if he's a good second baseman or not because he's always playing on the shortstop side of second base.
Full count. Abad gave up a leadoff single, but got a quick double play grounder, struck out Maldonado. Trying to keep the bases clean, particularly if this is his last batter. High fly, right center field. Sano for out number 2. Take a look at the Twins road ahead, presented by Jeep, and it starts with a road trip. 2 games in Milwaukee, 3 in Washington, then we're home for a week, then we go to Houston and Chicago. As predicted, Paul Molitor's come out to make a pitching change. It'll be Michael Tonkin coming in to pitch to Ryan Braun with 2 outs and the base is empty.
Yeah, good job by Abad.
check off the bereavement list with an effective outing. On Sunday, the Twins saw from Michael Tonkin something they hope they can count on in the future.
Unbelievable stuff. 6 up, 6 down when he worked the 11th and 12th inning in that 12 inning, a 3-2 win over the Angels. 4 strikeouts. He threw 24 pitches, 19 were strikes. And he picked up his first major league win.
And at least that many were fastballs, but he established the breaking pitch, which allowed him to strike out Trout, Pujols, and get his first major league win. He'll face another good right-handed batter in Ryan Braun here in the 7th. Braun with 2 singles and a walk, an RBI and a run scored. First pitch pounded foul.
Tonkin can get that fastball about 96 to 97 miles an hour, and then you mix in that hard slider. Had quite a day the other day. If you're wanting fastball.
94 up and in, and Braun swings and misses, so one would think a couple of fastballs. Braun as good a hitter as he is might be susceptible to the slider. Bases are empty. You can throw wherever you want.
Remember what Albert Pujols did against him when he swung at that slider. It made him kind of look foolish, and that's hard to do.
There you go.
That. Wow.
So Tonkin strikes out Braun quickly, and the Twins will hit in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Let's get him another win then.
And while Major League Baseball's global reach seems to be greater than ever, for now, Cuba remains one country that's outside its reach. Watch our special documentary, Cuba, Baseball's Final Frontier, airing Monday, April 25th, following our Twins live postgame show on Fox Sports North. And one of the greatest Cuban major leaguers, Tony Oliva, as you said, maybe the greatest ambassador the Twins have ever had. Byron Buxton leading off the bottom of the 7th inning, taking ball 1. Inside 2-0. Yadiel Rivera, the new third baseman. Two and one to Buxton. Up with the bases loaded, nobody out in the 2nd. Hit a ground ball to 3rd. Brewers got a forced play at home. Twins eventually got the game tied on an ensuing ground ball. Another breaking ball for strike 2, and it's 2-2. Buxton, Nunez, and Dozier here in the Twins 7th. Popped up behind first. Carter in foul ground makes the catch, 1 away. And now Nunez. Nunez doubled and scored in the first, drove in a run with a ground ball in the second, and then hit the ball sharply into the shift, meaning he pulled the ball to Scooter Gennett on the left side of the infield. Gennett lined up near second base over the right shoulder of Blazek. Of the teams we have seen, Baltimore, Kansas City, Chicago, the Angels, the Brewers far and away shift more than anybody else.
Right.
We were told the Angels were shifting a lot, but they in reality didn't shift that much
No,
here.
not like the Brewers have in this 2-game series so far.
Down and away, and it's 2-1. Up and in, 3-1. Dozier on deck.
The Twins have taken 4 walks, those all by Peralta, the starter for the Brewers.
Full count. Blazek coming back to fill the count against Nunez. Nunez will go to first.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Dozier single walk. He too hit into the shift, grounding a ball to Gennett in the 5th. Dives back. I suppose in a sense it's maybe a compliment to shift a batter. You're trying to take away hits from a really good player. But in the case of Dozier, now he's got a wide open right side of the infield here. First baseman's holding the runner, and there's a bunt, and it'll go foul. But as a right-handed batter, he's staring at a wide open right side of the infield.
You know, rather than him bunting down that third baseline, you could almost take that ball with him and push it toward Carter at first. As long as you get it past the pitcher, you may get an infield hit. I think we talked about it yesterday, Dick, that, you know, you think of a guy like Brian Dozier, he likes to pull the ball, but my goodness, look at that big hole right there.
Right now, Carter and Gennett are 110 feet apart from one another.
Right. Yeah, a couple throwovers to Nunez. Not really a running situation here. Twins need base runners. They want to get thrown out. Nunez does have 3 stolen bases in 5 attempts.
Down and away, and it's 1-1. Twins had a chance in the 6th, first and second, nobody out. At a time in the game where getting them back one at a time might have worked, but now Twins are running out of innings here. They need to try to work their way back against the Brewers. One and two.
Low strike right there with a fastball. Just Straight over the top. Flip the corner.
Fouled back. Still 1-2. Dozier, an all-star second baseman last year, cooled off considerably in the second half. Off to a slow start this year. Popped up. And it is the shortstop VR for out number 2. And that'll bring up Joe Mauer, looking for his first hit on his 33rd birthday.
Yeah, I think we look at the hot zone of Joe Mauer this year, where they've tried to pitch him. Joe's such a good inside-out swinger. See inside, 7 hits and 12 times inside. Belt high. Yes, your birthday too. Happy birthday, young man, along with Joe Mauer.
I like the thing on the bottom. My teacher knows I'm here. Blazek gets ahead, strike 1. The Twins gave the Brewers 3 unearned runs, but it's not like the Brewers haven't tried to give them back with all the walks, 5 of them, including a 1-out walk here in the 7th. 1-1. Big plate appearance here for the Twins because of who's on deck. Sano's error opened the door for the 3 unearned runs to score in the 5th, and the Twins would like to get Mauer aboard and give him a chance to make up, atone for the error. Off-speed pitch and a swing and a miss, 1-2.
Yeah, good curveball right there by Blazek. Blazek originally signed by the Cardinals, their 35th pick back in 2007. Out of a high school in Las Vegas, Nevada. Amber View High School.
Nunez goes and the pitch tapped foul. Twins down by 3 runs, 2 strikes on Mauer, but they sent Nunez nonetheless. Tyler Thornburg warming up in the Brewer bullpen. One and 2. Nunez goes again, and the pitch fouled back again.
Well, it's VR, the shortstop, that has been covering second base. What that does, Joe, a lot of his hits go the other way. Opens up a little extra hole in the infield. See the defensive infield alignment. And outfielders, of course, shading him a little bit toward left field.
You can see a better split for Joe in terms of spreading his hits around. Battling here, falling behind early. It's still 1-2. Nunez stays put, and there's ball 2. Middle of the lineup has been quiet. Mauer hitless. Sano has a hit. Arcia hitless. Park has a hit. They've all been singles.
Yeah, Joe came into the ball game a 9-game hitting streak.
Twins didn't need their bullpen, but the first 3 games of their 4-game winning streak, largely due to the fact that their bullpen was better than the Angel bullpen. Trying to get some work done against the Brewer bullpen. Full count with the sizable Sano on deck.
Chris Carter letting his pitcher know he'll play behind Nunez.
Fell behind, fouled off some 2-strike pitches, now has the count 3-2. Ball 4, and Sano will have his chance.
Second time Joe drew a walk here this afternoon. The 6th walk the Twins have taken.
Mauer now with 10 walks.
Well, Joe Mauer, of course, takes that first pitch. A breaking ball missed outside, 1-1. Then he swings through the curveball. And then the battle begins for Joe Mauer, fouling off some pitches. And Blazek missing with a fastball away. And then the high breaking ball for the base on balls to Joe.
And Greg Counsell to the mound. He's going to bring in a different right-hander to face Miguel Sano. Twins threatening here with 2 walks taken in the 7th inning. He is one of the best, if not the best, Twins hitter in the lineup. A drive to left, and that one is a no-doubter. That might be the hardest ball I've ever seen hit. Ever. Deep to left field. This one in the 3rd deck. I didn't think a human being could hit a baseball that far. A drive to left center field. The legend continues. So far, just 1 home run this year for Sano. Unlike the other 8 home runs the Twins have hit, they've all come with the bases empty. And the Twins, as poorly as they played here today, need the big man to deliver a big fly.
They'll have to do it against Tyler Thornburg, making his 6th relief appearance. 5 innings so far. He's not allowed a run, only 2 hits with 7 strikeouts.
Breaking ball and strike 1.
Thornburg, a hard-throwing right-hander. You saw the curveball. Very good changeup in his 5th season.
Pick off to second, and the ball hits Nunez, and he will advance to 3rd base. Well, Maldonado tried to pick off the runner at second and end the inning that way, and it looked like the throw actually hit the runner.
That was a very good, strong throw. And Nunez, you can see, getting hit by the ball as Jeanette snuck in behind the ball, caromed into right field.
Be an error charge to Maldonado, even though the throw is, I think, right where he wanted to deliver it. It's 1-1 to Sano. The extra base might be incidental here. The Twins are hoping that Sano clicks on one and ties the game. No hits in the inning, but 2 walks. 2-1.
Very tight curveball, straight over the top. Hornberger, over his 5 previous years or 4 previous years with the Brewers, did some starting, but now in the bullpen.
Oh, he got a pitch up and he spun it back to the screen. Look where this pitch was.
You would definitely like to have that back.
2-2.
Does he go back to the curveball? Wow.
95 down and in, and Sano strikes out, and the Twins strand 2 more in the 7th. Perhaps the most frustrating day in the big leagues for Miguel Sano. Bases loaded situation, nobody out in the first, and he hit into a double play. Fly ball, single in the 6th, left at third base. Then the swinging strikeout, stranding 2 men out, and of course in the middle innings the big error that set the Brewers up for a 3-run inning, and that's the difference in the ball game. Lucroy with a 1-0 count from Michael Tonkin. So you hope the young player, 22 years of age, realizes he just made the last out of the 7th, and you'd like to think he's going to have another chance in the 9th inning. 1-1. Lucroy with an RBI double his last time up, and then some alert base running that got him home.
Very good base running.
Foul back. Middle of the Brewer lineup, Lucroy, then Carter, and then Nieuwenhuis. High fastball, 2-2. Irvin Santana went 5 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. And the Sano error aside, just didn't seem as sharp as he had been in his other starts. Popped up, it'll reach the seats. Twins heading out for a road trip. 5 games in National League cities. As Marnie mentioned before, there's Ryan O'Rourke. Pitchers will get a chance to hit. Much like you and I have a chance to win the lottery.
Good breaking ball right there. Tonkin picking up his 2nd straight strikeout. Good hard breaking ball.
1 down in the 8th inning, and that'll bring up Carter. Carter with 2 sacrifice flies. Might not seem like much, but given Carter's past, 2 really good plate appearances for him. He's so strikeout prone. The only time he struck out was in the 3rd inning when there was not a man at third base. With a guy at third and less than 2 out, he got the job done. Kept the ball in the ballpark, but he got the job done. 1-0. Fastball just off the outside corner, now 2-0. If you're a young position player or pitcher, you look for one opportunity that you've been given that might boost your confidence, that might get you going in the right direction and unlock some of the potential you've shown. And that's what the Twins are hoping, that outing against the Angels in a desperate situation, extra innings, and Tonkin was put in the situation because there weren't any other options, and he really responded well.
Yes, he did, by winning his first major league game, 2 shutout innings.
3-1 now to Carter. Tonkin out of options, which means every big out he can get, every clean inning he can pitch, justifies his spot on the 25-man roster. And now a walk to Carter. 2 strikeouts and a walk. And join the Minnesota Wild for a playoff pregame party tomorrow, 5 to 8 p.m. at the XL Energy Center. Fans will enjoy music, food and beverages, happy hour prices, interactive games, NHL alumni autographs, and for more details visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on the upcoming events.
Well, we showed you Ryan O'Rourke working out in that bullpen. Here will be coming in as Michael Tonkin leaves the field.
Well, Tonkin faced 3 men. He got 2 of them, and he leaves with 1 gone in the 8th. Sarcastically, of course. I like to finish what I start.
And he did.
And he did.
Yep.
Ryan O'Rourke will relieve Michael Tonkin here in the 8th inning.
Now O'Rourke just getting called up. He worked here on Sunday. 1/3 of an inning, asked to get one batter out. That was Cole Calhoun in the 8th inning.
Santana will pinch hit for Nieuwenhuis. Chris Carter, the runner at first. Fastball, strike one.
Yeah, Santana was a leadoff hitter for the Brewers in yesterday's ball game, went 0 for 3 with a strikeout. Santana in his 2nd season with the Brewers. Ryan O'Rourke with a fastball, hard slider.
Check swing. No swing, 1-1. Twins started the year with Glenn Perkins and Fernando Abad, 2 veterans, as their left-handed relievers. There's Casey Fiend warming up behind O'Rourke. And another low 90s fastball in a good spot, 1-2.
Yeah, 3 straight fastballs. There's that hard slider down and in.
2-2. Got him looking, got the corner, 2 away.
A good hard slider right here. Got the bottom half of that strike zone. So O'Rourke comes in, picks up a strikeout.
VR, the batter, singled. His last time up. Chopped to third, 2-hopper for Nunez, and Nunez can't field it.
That hit the lip of the grass, between the grass and the dirt, and took a vicious little, you could see Nunez saying that ball kicked to the right. He tried to barehand it. That little cutout right there.
Yep.
Watch the ball change direction.
Took it right off the thumb, it looked like.
Should be an infield base hit.
So the inning continues. 1st and 2nd, 2 down. Strike one. They do give Santana a base hit.
This is where O'Rourke was nasty last year. Left-handers hit only 171 off of him. A lot of sliders. There's another one.
O'Rourke had a good spring training, and Paul Molitor said he looked much more effective against right-handers. And he was one of the final cuts, and we mentioned Michael Tonkin out of options. That was one of the factors that came into play. The Twins had Perkins and Abad from the left side, and then, I mean, you knew that Jepson was going to make the club and May was going to make the club. Fiend running out of spots. That's exactly what happened to O'Rourke, 1 and 2. Then the injuries started happening with Glenn Perkins going down.
Sometimes you have to wait your turn again, and O'Rourke is back up.
Now it's interesting, you know, the first couple weeks of the year, just look at the transaction wire and how many of those late cuts that are sent down are called up within the first 2 weeks. O'Rourke trying to keep this game within reach. Twins down by 3, but the Brewers have a threat with 2 on and 2 out. To the backstop. And everybody will move up. Tailing fastball up and in on Flores, and now those 2 runners are in scoring position.
Yeah, another wild pitch. Santana, when he was out there, had a couple wild pitches. See where Murphy was set up. The ball inside.
Full count. And there's a strikeout that ends the inning. Well, the Twins have squandered some scoring opportunities, and now the Brewers waste one in the 8th.
Starting the bottom of the 8th inning at Target Field, and coming up after the final out, as always, we will bring you Twins Live presented by CenturyLink. And today we'll look at how the Brewers were able to capitalize on Twins mistakes today, the biggest being the error in right field that led to 3 unearned runs in the 5th inning. We'll also have more focus on our Cuba initiative, a fascinating story of Cuban baseball players coming to America, trying to fulfill their dreams of playing in the big leagues. And we'll hear from the manager, Paul Molitor, all coming up after the final out today. Dick and Bert.
Well, thank you, Marnie. Oswaldo Arcia taking strike 1, leading off the Twins' 8th. Thornburg still in there. 1-1. It'll be Arcia, Park, and Escobar. Twins had a bases loaded, nobody out situation in the first, scored just 1 run. Same thing in the second. They scored 1 run. They were set down in order in innings 3, 4, and 5. Single and a walk started the 6th. No damage done. And a pair of walks in the 7th. No damage done. It's been a very frustrating ball game for the Twins. 2-1 to Arcia. 2-2.
You know, he always taught as a pitcher to throw straight over the top. Thornburg does that. My goodness. And a good fastball at that. Comes in and picks up the 2nd strikeout. He struck out Sano to end the bottom of the 7th.
One down. And now Byung-Ho Park. Park with a single his first time up, then a fly ball to left and a strikeout. A high fly to left field. Home run number 4, and this, like the other 3, a no-doubter.
Boy, hanging breaking ball, and Park was jumping all over that baby. Wow. In the second deck. Ball just jumps off his bat.
10th home run of the year for the Twins, and they've all come with the bases empty.
And all against right-handed pitchers. Well, it didn't take long for this ball to leave the ballpark.
So now a 5-3 game. And Escobar. And Thornburg comes back with a breaking ball again and gets a called third strike.
I know I can throw it better than I just did.
Asked Paul Molitor late in spring training about Park and what impressed him the most. And we might have seen it come into play here in that first pitch. He studies pitchers. And here's Thornburg, who pretty much blew Arcia away, dribbler foul, with a couple of mid-90s fastballs. And Park said he's played a lot professionally, different country, albeit, but he's played a lot and he knows what pitchers try to do to hitters. And he will sit on a pitch, and it sure looked like the pitch was hung, and Park was waiting for it.
Yeah, and he crushed it.
1-2. Two and two.
You know, they measure that home run at 394 feet. That's it.
That's a chip shot for him.
That's nothing.
Well, maybe he's working his way around the ballpark again. He had first one to left, the next one to center, next one to right. Now he's starting over in left field again. Again, so much was made of Park and the transition, how difficult it would be. The team has 10 home runs, and he's got 4 of them. Lifted foul, out of play. Escobar drops his bat.
Watch how quick this ball leaves the ballpark. Wow, solid swing on the curveball.
.105 home runs the last 2 years in Korea. Now Escobar sends one to left, and the Twins will get the tying run to the plate.
Good hitting right there by Escobar. Fastball away, didn't try to pull it, just went with it, and with the shift put on, he's at first base with 1 out. Picks up his first hit.
Eddie Rosario is going to hit for John Ryan Murphy. Rosario spent a lot of time on the bench. The backstory to Arcia getting some big hits and looking like a much better player is the fact that Rosario got off to a very slow start and has lost playing time to Arcia. Rosario just 6 hits, 41 at bats, a couple of doubles, no home runs. So Rosario comes to the plate representing the tying run.
Well, if he has been watching Thornburg, everything's been hard. Hard fastball, hard breaking ball. So pick one of them and hit it hard. There's a curveball.
And he takes a look at it. He hasn't played much at all over the last week. Not a bad idea, although it might go against his nature to see a few pitches. One and 0. Blocked nicely by Maldonado, keeping it in front of him and keeping Escobar at first base.
Good downward plane, but see Maldonado using his body to keep it in front of him.
Two and 0 to Rosario. 2-1. High fly to center field.
Get out of here.
Back and gone. Tie game. Rosario off the bench, and we're tied at 5.
A big 2-run home run for Eddie Rosario, his first home run of the year. And the first home run with somebody on base. Gotta love it. Good timing. Got a high fastball, hit it straight away center. So Thornburg gives up his second home run of the inning. And the Twins tie it at 5 apiece.
And first 3 runs allowed all year long, and there was very little doubt when it left home plate. That ball was crushed. And the Twins, as they did against the Angels over the weekend, now here have taken advantage of the Milwaukee bullpen. A big 3 spot here in the 8th inning. 1 out, and Buxton will hit with the bases empty. Couple of long balls here, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Buxton bunt. Inside ball 1.
Well, one thing Byron needs to do is quit hitting pop-ups. He needs to find a way to hit the ball on the ground, utilize his speed.
Shows bunt, takes a strike. Show bunt, saw a breaking ball and pulled the bat back, took it for a strike. Two and 1. The third baseman Rivera playing about even with the bag at third. We've seen Buxton bunt successfully to the right side, pushing one toward the first baseman and beating it out. 3 and 1 with Nunez on deck. Popped up. Right center field. 2 down. And Rosario pinch hitting for John Ryan Murphy. That means Suzuki will catch.
You can see Kevin Jepson warming up in the bullpen.
He'll get the 9th whether the Twins take the lead or not. That was a big pitch by Thornburg to get Buxton falling behind 3 and 1. Buxton again popping the ball up. Nunez has reached twice today. Double, a walk, and he takes down and in.
A pinch hit home run by Rosario, the first home runs by a pinch hitter since September 9th of last year, when Sano hit one in Kansas City.
Right. Ended up winning the Twins a ball game. 2-0 to Nunez. High fly, left center field. Braun back, and on the edge of the track he hauls it in. And the Twins are done in the 8th. 2 home runs in the inning, 1 by Park, and a pinch hit home run by Rosario, and we are tied at 5. dramatic. All 4 home runs have been key points in a game, including the home run that got the Twins to within 2, and then Rosario hit the 2-run home run. Young Ho Park very quickly adapting to the major leagues. Kevin Jepsen will pitch in a tie game, starting with Martin Maldonado.
You know, we all know that the Twins started off 0-9, but what I'd like to see is over the last 4 ballgames, Twins have scored late. They've really, they've kicked it in. They haven't given up. Kurt Suzuki taking over behind the plate as Kevin Jepsen come in, making his 7th relief appearance.
Just off the outside corner.
They had the day off yesterday after working all 3 games in that Angels series. Picked up a couple saves.
One 1-0 to Maldonado. And 2-0. It has not been a very efficient start to the season for Kevin Jepsen, although he pitched effectively against the Angels in all 3 games, but the command hasn't been there. He's fallen behind hitters. At times has had to simply rely on his fastball. Popped up right side. Park drifting into foul territory and did not make the play. The wind blowing in from left field, and it took the baseball and Park right to the railing.
Well, the ball hit high right here. Park kind of just playing it, and you can see the ball kept drifting on him. Got a piece of his glove as it lands in the camera well.
And I really think unfamiliarity might have contributed to that. He took his eye off the ball for a split second to position himself in foul territory. Principally a designated hitter. He hasn't played much first base here at Target Field. 2-1. Now a high fly to right, and Sano circles under it. And the fans reminding Sano about what happened in the 5th inning. 1 down.
Fans can be mean sometimes.
MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. Includes a free subscription to At-Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Rivera, the batter.
First at bat for Rivera. Took over for Welsh at 3rd base a couple innings ago.
Scooter Gennett on deck. That's hit to right center. Buxton tracking it, and he'll play the carom. And rounding second, heading for 3rd. Rivera has a triple with 1 out. A 1-out triple. And the Brewers have the go-ahead run at 3rd with 1 away.
Well, getting a fastball, Rivera hits it the other way, straight away. Buxton had a little trouble playing the carom. Dropped the ball and then dropped it again. And Rivera and his speed makes it to 3rd. They'll give him a double and then an error by Buxton, allowing him to get to 3rd base.
And now Jepsen, with the infield drawn in, will go after Scooter Gennett. And that's been the pitch that has betrayed Jepsen. He just doesn't have the command of his secondary pitches, either the breaking ball or the changeup. And so a hitter like Rivera can stand in there and gear up for the fastball, which looks like that's exactly what happened. 1-0. Base hit to left, and the Brewers are back in front.
Right, threw him another breaking ball, but left it up. And Jeanette picking up his second hit of the ball game, driving in his 4th run of the year. Good piece of hitting right there. Weighted back nicely with the infield in.
And now Braun, 2 singles, a walk, and a strikeout. Check swing, ball 1. Saw it happen during Jepson's appearances in the 9-game losing streak. Unless or until he or any other pitcher for that matter can establish some secondary pitches, hitters will go up there and a high throw, and Park's able to pull it down. Hitters will just go up there looking for dead red. He is the closer now with Glenn Perkins on the disabled list with a shoulder ailment. Dozier with a nice pickup and a double play, but a triple, or excuse me, a double and an error and an RBI single to put the Brewers back in front. It'll be Dozier, Mauer, and Sano in the bottom of the inning. Scooter Gennett with a big base hit, driving in the go-ahead run. His second hit of the ball game, and it's 6-5. Jeremy Jeffress, the Brewer closer, will try to pin it down.
Yeah, the closer this year, first year that's getting the opportunity to close is Jeffress. In his 3rd season with the Brewers, came over from the Toronto Blue Jays a couple of years ago. Hard throwing right-hander, good curveball, slider, and a changeup.
Dozier 1 for 3 with a walk. Mauer 0 for 2 with 2 walks, and then Sano in what has to this point been a day he'd like to forget. Ball 1. Back Back in his Kansas City days, we would see Jeffress hit 97, 98 with that fastball, that first one.
Yeah, he was a Brewers #1 pick back in 2006. Came up a little bit with the Brewers and then went over to the Royals and the Blue Jays.
Popped up right side. See what the wind does to that. Carter has a play and makes the catch. So Dozier retired. And that'll bring up Mauer.
You know, I talked about Buxton last inning about hitting too many fly balls. Same thing for Brian Dozier. Too many pop-ups.
Mauer with a couple of infield ground balls and 2 walks. Twins with 3 runs in the 8th to tie it, but now they need 1 in the 9th to stay alive here this afternoon. Behind Mauer is Sano. At 94 on the outside corner. Fly ball hit lazily to left. Braun comes in, out number 2. And last hope for the Twins is Miguel Sano. Time now for what's next. Brought to you by CenturyLink. And tomorrow night at Miller Park, Jimmy Nelson will go for the Brewers. Tommy Malone for the Twins.
You know, last year and last couple of years, Francisco Rodriguez was their closer. Now he's no longer there, so kind of opened the door for Jeffress to get some opportunities to get some saves.
Rodriguez with the Tigers. Sano 1 for 4. Some frustrating at bats and some frustrating adventures in right field. One in particular. Ball 1. If Sano can keep the game alive, Arcia would have a chance. Swing and a foul, 1-1.
It's a nice 96 mph coming out of the arms in the hand of Jeffress.
On the ground, hit right to the shortstop Villar. And the Brewers even the series at a game apiece. Giving up a 3-run lead in the 8th. They get a big run in the 9th. And we head to Milwaukee with this 4-game set tied at 1 apiece.
Well, the Brewers took advantage of 2 errors by the Twins. Sano and then Buxton in the 9th inning. So they took advantage of it, scored 4 unearned runs.
Twins winning streak. Tom Hanneman comes to a halt at 4 games in advance of the road trip.
Dick, to say this Twin season has been streaky is entirely accurate. 9 straight losses followed by 4 straight wins. Another loss today. Up next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll talk about the Twins comeback in the 8th. Update our stories from Cuba and hear from Paul Molitor.